If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, that must have been very hard to watch. First of all, hi, it's been a minute. If you guys don't know, the reason why I didn't make a video on Le'Veon Bell signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is one, all right, we already know how this is going to end up. He's barely going to get any carries with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the main reason being the fact that I'm still recovering from Omicron. I have like 3 more days left, which is also why my voice might be off and my energy might be off, but I still felt like I saw enough of this terrible Kansas City Chiefs versus Pittsburgh Steelers game to at least get ideas to paper or actually ideas to video. So before we get to the content, just a quick reminder, we're giving away $500 to subscribers that turns on our notifications on this channel. In addition to that, we're giving away $500 to a follower on Instagram when we get to 50K followers. Now that we got all that out of the way, this sponsor is literally going to pay you just to scan receipts. I'm serious. Introducing Fetch Rewards, an application on your phone that gives you points for every single time you scan a digital receipt or a physical receipt. For example, let's say you go out to a restaurant with some buddies, you end up picking up the bill. If you take a picture of your receipt and upload it to Fetch Rewards, you're going to get rewarded with some points. With those points, you can redeem gift cards or other prizes, or in my case, I just donated to charity. And it's a really cool way to get a little extra for something that you were going to do anyways. And currently, if you use my promo code Mikerophone, you'll get an additional 3,000 bonus points on your very first receipt. I personally think it's really fun. I do it. My brothers and sisters usually like fight over the receipt every single time we go out to eat. So make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone for an additional 3,000 points when you scan your first receipt. And thank you, Fetch Rewards, for the sponsor. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? We all want the perfect ending to a NFL career. We want to go out the way Ray Lewis did, off of a beautiful and valiant goal line stand against the greatest rushing attack in the NFL during that season. Or maybe we want to go out the way Peyton Manning did by hoisting a Super Bowl trophy for another team, something that was completely unheard of for a quarterback during that time until Tom Brady came along. Or you might just want to go out in a way that was at least somewhat respectable, kind of the way I guess Drew Brees went out when he lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and threw multiple interceptions, and then you had Jameis Winston throwing the only good-looking touchdown pass of that game, which kind of reminded everyone, hey, this is why Drew Brees is retiring. Or even the way Phillip Rivers went out with the Indianapolis Colts. He lost in the playoffs, but at the end, it was still a respectable effort. And I guess that's what Pittsburgh wants to do with this storyline of it being Ben Roethlisberger's final year, which, let's be honest, we kind of knew this was his final year in the offseason. If you go back, the Pittsburgh Steelers offered him the lowest contract of his career for 1 year, comparable to the sum of money that Cam Newton was making for the New England Patriots, or currently is making for the Carolina Panthers. And ultimately, I felt like it was a great move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because the trend that you see in the NFL, at least currently, with players that have their abilities waning to some extent or another, is if you're an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady type, you begin making the extra effort to at least take care of your body and do whatever it takes to at least be able to throw a football like you were able to in years past. Maybe you're a little bit more careful with the passes that you make. Needless to say, there is this expectation that as you get older, you get into your late 30s, you amass this wisdom of knowing how to pick apart NFL defenses, and although your athletic ability may have drained a little bit or waned a little bit, not that Tom Brady had any to begin with, the hope is that you'll be able to use that experience throughout your NFL career to make good, intelligent decisions on the football field. And unfortunately for Ben Roethlisberger, like, none of that happened. And this isn't to bag on the guy, because I think he's had a very respectable career. I mean, Ben Roethlisbergers don't come around very often. I know Pittsburgh Steelers fans will go out and say, well, he's not as good as Terry Bradshaw was. But of course, Terry Bradshaws don't come around very often. If we're being fully transparent with one another, if you watch the game that featured the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs, which, bear in mind, this was a huge must-win for the Steelers, especially because the Cincinnati Bengals came out and absolutely kicked ass today. So the Steelers are still very much in the playoff hunt, but they really needed a big win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully give them some momentum going into January, and hopefully they might be able to surprise some teams. I'm unsure. There were games where I thought Ben Roethlisberger looked pretty good. That game against the Minnesota Vikings, he had over 300 yards passing, and if it wasn't for a specific wide receiver celebrating at an inappropriate time, there might have been a chance for them to win a signature game in the form of a comeback. But in this instance, Ben Roethlisberger threw for 159 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and fumbled to set the Kansas City Chiefs up in some prime real estate for them to score. It's not that Ben Roethlisberger looked bad, it's that the entirety of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense looked bad, aside from Najee Harris, who had 93 yards for a 4.9 yards per carry average, which that of itself is a huge miracle considering the fact that this man is running behind virtually no offensive line. It's just really tough to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers do at this point, because this year's NFL draft is one of those NFL drafts that do have some promising quarterback prospects, but it's not like you have 5 QBs that might be selected within the first 15 picks like last year happened. You have like 2 or 3 good QB prospects that might need to sit down and at least hold a clipboard for a couple of weeks before they're really ready for some action. And we're going to jump into our scouting reports on those players soon, but it just seems like the Pittsburgh Steelers consistently neglect their weaknesses going into the offseason, and then when time comes for the regular season and they get a huge reality check, they're like, wait, I don't get it. Why do we stink? It's not like our offensive line is horrible. It's not like our quarterback is washed and can barely throw the football 15 yards or just loves throwing the football to the opposing team. It's like, who is your contingency plan if Ben Roethlisberger goes down, or if you want to bench Big Ben to begin with? Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins. There's absolutely zero question in my mind that this is going to be Ben Roethlisberger's final season. I don't know who is starting up these rumors of Ben Roethlisberger potentially leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers and signing with another team in free agency. I don't see that happening. I don't think anyone sees that happening. I don't think any team is looking at Ben Roethlisberger and saying, wow, if we sign Big Ben to a 1-year, maybe $12 million contract, he is the missing piece. He could definitely lead this team to a Super Bowl. I don't think any team is thinking that. So like we said in the very beginning of the video, man, he's showing those signs that Drew Brees showed in his final game with the New Orleans Saints going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's time that this guy retires. It's just hopefully he could go out on a high note. I don't think this team is even close to contending for a Super Bowl, let alone hopefully they might be able to sneak into the playoffs, but they're going to have to get a little hot over the next couple of games. Let me know in the comment section down below, how the hell do you fix the Steelers, man? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.